Just got this 4-in-1 jump starter, air compressor, power bank, and flashlight from Lokithor. Let's open it up and take a look. Hey, what's up YouTube? Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. This company Lokithor reached out and asked me if I'd be willing to take a look at this jump starter, air compressor, power bank, and emergency flashlight. Let's open it up and see what's included here. Lokithor, the force of thunder in hand. And we've got a nice little instruction manual. Now this one comes with a nice little drawstring storage bag, but it also comes with a smaller drawstring bag that I guess would still fit in here. And this has your inflation tube, a couple fittings, and the jumper cables. Looks like it also comes with the little USB-A to USB-C charging cable so you can get this charged up. But because this also functions as a power bank, I imagine you could use this same cable to charge a device. Now, first impression, it's actually a pretty compact unit for all of the function that it has. Not too bulky. I thought this would be a little bit bigger, you know, especially with this handle, this molded handle on top. But I do like the idea of the handle, especially because it is a flashlight. Now, these cables also look to be very heavy duty. I've looked at another Lokithor jump starter and it had the same type of cables. Got a really strong spring in there. Somebody commented that the pins on these were plastic. They mentioned that sometimes those plastic pins can warp over time. I haven't had any of those issues, but somebody mentioned that, so I thought it was worth pointing out. The jump starter port is this one here on the left, and you can only plug that in one way. It's got one flat side. I'm going to plug that in. This does have built-in spark-proof protection, reverse polarity protection, short circuit protection, reverse charge protection, low temperature protection, high temperature protection, over voltage protection, overload protection, overcharge protection, and overcurrent protection. There's just a lot of protection built into this unit, so even somebody who's not really comfortable jump starting in a car or working on vehicles doesn't have to worry so much about doing something wrong. The unit itself will let you know if you've got it hooked up incorrectly. All right, now here at my truck, I'm just going to hook up this black clamp right here, or the negative side, to the negative terminal of the battery. Just clamp that down and just kind of give it a wiggle just to make sure it's got a nice good connection. And then the positive terminal, same thing. Just make sure that that's also a good connection, and then we can wake up the jump starter by pushing the power or the light button. I'll just push the power button. Okay, now you can see that the little green light right there is flashing and you can hear the unit clicking. So that's telling us that we can start the car now. Let's go do that. Now I don't need to leave it running because we know we've got a good battery. Now if you still have the green flashing button, you can just press the power button. That will take it out of the start mode, and then you can disconnect these clamps and power down the unit by pressing and holding that power button. It's easy as that. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is that this also has what's called a forced start mode. Here you're going to want to make sure that these cables do not touch during the forced start mode. But let's power this on. And then what you need to do is press and hold the bar or PSI button for 5 seconds. And you see right there, we've got the green light. The green light turns on. That means that this is charged and ready to go, and this is going to jumpstart your vehicle. So for example, if you had a battery that was completely dead or completely flat, a lot of times this will not pick it up or it won't detect it. And so you do need to go into the forced start mode to do that. But in forced start mode or manual start mode, the safety protections are gone. So you could accidentally short circuit this unit. You could hook things up wrong. It doesn't have those same detections built in when you're in the forced start mode. Once the car starts, go ahead and hit that bar or PSI button again, and that exits the forced start mode. And then you can also just power down the unit by pressing and holding the power button. And then we can disconnect the jump start cables. If your vehicle doesn't start, it says to wait 20 to 30 seconds before each attempt of using this. And it says to not attempt more than 5 times within 15 minutes. Now let's take a look at the inflator function. So if you take a look at this end here, you see we've got another rubber plug, and that's where we're going to connect the inflation tube. And then this is ready to hook up to a tire. And then once you have it hooked up to a tire, we'll do that here in just a minute. What you're gonna do is wake up the unit or turn it on by pressing the power button. You can also push the light button to turn it on. And then we're going to select the bar or PSI. And right now you can see it's at PSI. And then you can press the plus or minus button here on the side. We'll go ahead and bump this up to 32. And then you press and hold pump, and it turns on. To turn it off, just hit that pump button again. So let's go let some air out of a tire, and then we'll see how long this takes to pump it back up. Now I was gonna let some air out of this tire, but I didn't need to. It's already low. If you take a look here, we're at 26.3. So I'm just gonna add some air and bring this up to the 32, and we'll see how long that takes. going to set up a little timer here on my phone as well while I do this, but you can see we're at 26.4 PSI right now. But let's go ahead and turn this on and see how long it takes. I'm going to hit start at the same time. All right, so just under a minute. Now, we had that set to 32, and you can see it stopped, but it's at 33.6, 33.7. It's kind of fluctuating between the two. I like that because every time you go to disconnect the valve, you always lose a little bit, but let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go ahead and check it here with this gauge. And there you go, we're really close, 32.6, that's good enough for me. Now it says that you should let this sit for about 10 minutes before you disconnect the inflation tube because it will get pretty hot, especially when you're inflating a lot of tires for a long time. By the way, it says that this will go up to 150 PSI. Feels like it's cooled down, so I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the tube. Now, I didn't show this, but it also comes with all of these little adapters, these little inflators. You can inflate a pool toy or a raft. It also has a ball needle for a volleyball, soccer ball, or a football. All right, now I want to take a look at the power bank function. So I'm just going to plug in this USB-A to lightning cable here in the port down below. Let's power it on, and you can see it's charging. See, we've got the little charging icon. So this is working. That's pretty awesome. It's just so nice to be able to charge your phone in the case of an emergency, to have this little emergency power bank function as well. So let's disconnect that. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to demonstrate is the light function. The light button will turn the unit on, but it won't turn it off. You have to press and hold the power button to turn the unit off. Now, to use the light function though, you do need to press it once to turn the unit on, and then you're gonna press and hold the light button, and that will turn this really bright LED light on the side, or I guess that's the front if you're walking around like this, using this as an emergency flashlight. If you press the light button again, it will change through the different modes. So press it one more time, and that's more of like an emergency flasher. And then if you press it again, it goes into an SOS mode. And then if you press it again, it turns off. But that's pretty much everything. Let's go ahead and power this off. But what a nice little compact unit, and so many amazing little features. Just having this with you might mean the difference between spending the night in a freezing cold car on the side of the road versus making it home to a safe, warm bed. Now, I've got several jump starters, and I try to keep one in every vehicle fully charged up. Just keep that in mind. After you do use this, it is very important that you plug it back in and get it fully charged up. We'll go ahead and do that in a minute before I put this away. Now, they say this has a very low discharge rate, and so that's going to give it a much longer standby time. They say up to 24 months. I would recommend that you take this out and get it fully charged up, maybe every 3 to 6 months if you remember. I've gone longer than that in some of my jump starters, and you can see that some of them do lose a little bit of power over time. So that is important. If you do get one of these, make sure that you have it fully charged up so that it's always ready in the case of an emergency. But I highly recommend you get one of these. These are also great gifts if you've got some kids that are out driving and whatnot. It's just so nice to have the peace of mind knowing that your kids got this in the trunk, so that if they do end up with a dead battery or even a flat tire, they might be able to pump that up and get to an area that it's safe, at least get you off the road, you know, just to be able to get to at least a safe location and wait for some roadside assistance, or it might be enough to get you safely home. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. Of course, I'll get a link in the description where you can pick up this exact same jump starter, air compressor, portable power bank, and emergency flashlight as well. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.